a quiet corner of the universe. Station 7 floated in the empty space between star systems, a small trading post where travelers stopped to refuel and resupply. The station was old, built centuries ago when this region of space was busier. Now it served maybe 30 ships per month, most of them small cargo vessels or independent traders looking for cheaper docking fees. Marcus Webb ran a repair shop on the lower deck of the station. His small workshop was crammed with broken equipment, salvage parts, and tools he had collected over 15 years of fixing things other people had given up on. The sign above his door read, "Webb's Repairs. If it's broken, I'll try," in fading letters. Most days were slow. Marcus would sit at his workbench, drinking coffee from a chip mug, working on whatever project someone had dropped off. He fixed communication devices, navigation systems, environmental suits, and occasionally more unusual items. He had learned that in a place like Station 7, you needed to be able to fix anything if you wanted to keep your business running. An unusual customer. On a Tuesday morning, by Earth calendar, an old Valkyrian shuffled into Marcus's shop. The alien was hunched over, walking with a cane made from some dark metal Marcus did not recognize. Valkyrians were rare this far from the core systems. They were known as brilliant scientists and engineers. But this one looked like he had seen better days. The Valkyrian skin had the faded purple color that came with extreme age. His ceremonial robes were worn and patched. But his eyes, those large amber eyes that Valkyrians were famous for, still showed sharp intelligence. "Are you the human who fixes things?" the Valkyrian asked in heavily accented standard. His voice was rough, like he did not speak often. Marcus stood up and wiped his hands on his work apron. "That's me, Marcus Webb. What can I help you with today?" The old alien reached into his robes and pulled out a small device. It was about the size of a human hand, made of a silvery metal that seemed to shift colors in the light. Marcus had never seen anything quite like it. The craftsmanship was incredible, with intricate patterns carved into every surface. "This is broken," the Valkyrian said simply, placing it on Marcus's workbench. "I have taken it to 17 repair specialists across 4 systems. None could fix it. Most could not even identify what it was." Marcus picked up the device carefully, turning it over in his hands. It was heavier than it looked, and the metal felt warm to the touch. "What does it do?" "It is a navigation compass," the Valkyrian explained. "Very old, very important to me. It has guided me for many years, but now it is silent. The challenge begins." Marcus examined the device more closely. There were no obvious seams or openings. The surface was smooth, except for the carved patterns. He held it up to his ear and shook it gently. Nothing rattled inside. "I'm not going to lie to you," Marcus said honestly. "I've never seen anything like this. I mostly work on standard commercial equipment. This looks like it's way beyond my expertise." The Valkyrian's shoulders sagged slightly. "I see. Thank you for your honesty, human. I will continue my search." He reached out to take the device back, but Marcus did not hand it over immediately. He was still studying the patterns on the surface. There was something familiar about them, though he could not place what. "Wait," Marcus said. "Give me a day with it. No promises, but I'd like to try. If I can't figure it out, no charge for looking at it." The Valkyrian studied Marcus with those sharp amber eyes. "Why would you spend your time on something you believe you cannot fix?" Marcus shrugged. "Because it's important to you, and because I'm curious. That's basically why I got into repair work in the first place. I like puzzles." A small smile appeared on the Valkyrian's face. "Very well, human Marcus Webb. I am called Theron. I will return tomorrow at the same time." After Theron left, Marcus spent the rest of the day examining the navigation compass. He tried scanning it with every diagnostic tool he owned. Nothing penetrated the outer shell. The device did not register on electromagnetic scanners, did not show up on density readers, and seemed to absorb any radiation he pointed at it. A breakthrough discovery. As evening approached and the station's artificial lights dimmed to simulate night, Marcus sat at his workbench staring at the compass. He had been turning it over in his hands for hours, studying every detail of those intricate carved patterns. Then something clicked in his mind. The patterns were not just decorative. They were similar to old Earth Braille, a tactile writing system for blind people, but more complex. Three-dimensional instead of flat. Marcus got out his magnifying lens and examined the patterns more carefully. Yes, there were definitely depth variations that would not be visible to the eye, but could be felt by sensitive fingers. Or in this case, probably by Valkyrian touch ridges, which were far more sensitive than human fingertips. He pulled out an old reference book he kept on alien writing systems. It took him 2 hours, but he finally found a match. The patterns were written in ancient Valkyrian, a language so old that most modern Valkyrians could not read it. The book only had a basic translation guide, but it was enough. The carvings were not instructions. They were a poem about journeys, stars, and finding one's way home. And woven into the poem were mathematical formulas. Beautiful, elegant equations that described stellar navigation in ways Marcus had never seen before. He realized that the compass was not broken in the mechanical sense. It was locked, a security feature, probably triggered when the device detected it was in the wrong hands or far from its intended location. Working through the night. Marcus worked through the night, carefully translating the poem and solving the mathematical puzzles embedded within it. His coffee grew cold. His back ached from hunching over the workbench. But he kept going, driven by curiosity and the challenge. The final equation was the key. It was asking for a specific stellar coordinate, but presented in such a poetic way that you had to understand both the mathematics and the artistic intent to solve it. Marcus plotted star charts, calculated drift patterns, and eventually figured out the coordinate the compass was asking for. It was a location of the Valkyrian homeworld, but not its current location. The coordinate pointed to where the planet had been 3,000 years ago, before stellar drift had moved it. Marcus took a small calibration tool and carefully traced that coordinate onto the compass's surface, following the grooves of the carved poem. He had to do it in a specific order, following the rhythm of the verse. When he traced the final line, the compass suddenly hummed to life. The surface began to glow with soft blue light, and a holographic display appeared above it, showing a three-dimensional star map with a glowing line pointing in a specific direction. Marcus let out a breath he did not realize he had been holding. "Got you," he whispered. The return of Theron. The next morning, Theron returned exactly when he said he would. Marcus was waiting, the compass sitting on his workbench, still displaying its holographic star map. The old Valkyrian stopped in the doorway, staring at the glowing device. His amber eyes went wide. His cane clattered to the floor. You did it," Theron whispered. "But how?" "The finest technicians in the galaxy could not." Marcus explained his process, showing Theron the translations he had worked out and the mathematical solution he had found. As he spoke, he noticed tears begin to form in the old alien's eyes. "This compass was given to me when I began my journeys many lifetimes ago," Theron said quietly. "I thought I had lost it forever when it went silent 5 years past. I have searched everywhere for someone who could repair it. What made it go silent?" Marcus asked. Theron smiled sadly. "Pride and foolishness. I tried to modify it, to update it with newer technology. I did not realize that the old ways were built into its very design. I broke the connection between the device and its original purpose." The old Valkyrian picked up his compass, holding it reverently. "How much do I owe you, human?" Marcus thought about it. He had worked all night. The translation alone had been incredibly difficult. By any reasonable measure, he should charge a significant fee. But looking at the joy and relief on Theron's face, he could not do it. "First repair consultation is free, remember?" Marcus said, "I said no charge if I looked at it. I'm a man of my word." Theron stared at him. "You spent an entire night working on this. You solve a puzzle that experts could not. You must accept payment." Marcus shook his head. "Tell you what, pay me back by telling me about your journeys. That compass looks like it has traveled to some interesting places. I'd love to hear the stories. Stories of the stars." Theron accepted Marcus's offer and spent the rest of that day in the repair shop, telling stories. He spoke of nebulae that sang with radiation harmonics. He described planets where the oceans were liquid methane, and the life there was more alien than anything Marcus had imagined. He talked about first contact situations, diplomatic missions, and the time he accidentally started a trade war by complimenting the wrong ambassador's appearance. Marcus listened, fascinated. He made more coffee, shared his lunch, and hung on every word. Other customers came to the shop, saw Marcus was busy, and quietly left their broken items with notes about what needed fixing. As the station's day cycle came to an end, Theron finally stood to leave. "Thank you, Marcus Webb. You have given me back something I thought was lost forever. Not just a compass, but the memories and purpose it represents." "It was my pleasure," Marcus said honestly. "Thanks for the stories. Those were worth way more than any repair fee." Theron paused at the door. "May I ask you something, human? Why do you live here on this forgotten station? Your skills could earn you fortune on any core world." Marcus looked around his cluttered workshop. "Same reason you kept that old compass instead of getting a new one, I think. Sometimes the old, forgotten places and things are more interesting than the shiny new ones. Plus, I like the quiet. Gives me time to think." The old Valkyrian nodded slowly. Wisdom often hides in unexpected places. He left, but Marcus noticed he walked straighter now, with more energy in his steps. A mysterious message. 2 days passed. Marcus returned to his normal routine of fixing communication arrays and recalibrating environmental suits. He thought about Theron occasionally, wondering where the old Valkyrian was traveling now that he had his compass back. On the 3rd day, Marcus received a message on his personal comm device. The sender was listed only as friend. The message was brief. "Marcus Webb, you have shown great kindness to someone who needed it. You asked for nothing in return except stories. This is noted and appreciated. Should you ever need assistance, contact this frequency. You have friends you do not yet know about." The message included a communication code unlike anything Marcus had seen before. It was not tagged to any known network or system. Just a string of numbers that seemed random but felt important. Marcus saved the code, though he did not fully understand it. He went back to work, unaware that his simple act of helping an old traveler had caught the attention of someone important. Very important. What Marcus did not know was that Theron was not just any old Valkyrian. He was Theron the Wanderer, the most famous explorer in galactic history, the being who had made first contact with 17 species, the navigator who had mapped the dangerous routes through the void sectors, the diplomat who had prevented 3 major wars through wisdom and patience. Theron had retired from public life 50 years ago, choosing to travel quietly and observe the galaxy he had helped shape. He had taken his famous navigation compass with him, the device that had guided him through his greatest adventures. And now a human repair technician on a forgotten space station had done what the galaxy's greatest technical minds could not. He had restored that compass by combining knowledge, patience, and genuine care for a stranger's problem. Theron sat in his small ship, looking at the glowing compass in his hands. Then he activated his long-in-use diplomatic channels and began making calls, important calls, to people who owed him favors, to organizations that respected his opinion, to those who had the power to change things. "I have found someone interesting," Theron said into his communicator. "A human on Station 7. I want to know more about him, and I want to ensure he is protected. He has the gift that we often lose, the ability to help others simply because it is the right thing to do." Part 2. The Explorer's Gift. Business as usual. Marcus continued his work on Station 7, unaware of the conversations happening in distant sectors of space. He fixed a cargo hauler's navigation system, replaced the power coupling on an old mining drone, and spent 3 frustrating hours trying to repair a translator that insisted on converting everything into ancient poetry. The station manager, a grumpy Thoraxian named Frail, stopped by the shop one afternoon. "Webb, you got any idea why we've suddenly got inspectors coming?" Frail asked, his mandibles clicking with anxiety. "Station maintenance, safety compliance, business licensing. They're checking everything." Marcus looked up from the plasma torch he was repairing. "No idea. We do something wrong. That's what worries me. We're always a little wrong. That's why we survive out here. Nobody bothers us because we're too small to matter. Now suddenly everybody's interested in Station 7. The inspections came and went over the next week. To everyone's surprise, the inspectors were not there to shut things down. Instead, they started approving upgrades. The station's power grid was repaired. New life support systems were installed. The docking bays got updated magnetic clamps. "It's weird," Krill told Marcus over drinks at the station's only bar. "It's like someone important wants this place to succeed. But who cares about a forgotten trading post?" Marcus sipped a synthetic beer and said nothing. He had his suspicions, but kept them to himself. An unexpected visitor. 3 weeks after Theron had left, a sleek diplomatic vessel docked at Station 7. It was a kind of ship that usually only visited core worlds, all polished hull plating and diplomatic insignia. Krill nearly had a breakdown, trying to figure out proper greeting protocols. A young Valkyrian woman emerged from the ship, followed by 2 assistants. She wore formal robes that marked her as someone from the diplomatic corps. She asked for directions to Webb's repairs. Marcus was under a workbench, replacing corroded wiring, when he heard someone clear their throat. He slid out and looked up to see the diplomatic party, standing in his workshop. "Can I help you?" Marcus asked, getting to his feet and wiping his hands. The young Valkyrian bowed slightly. "I am Ambassador Serene of the Valkyrian Diplomatic Mission. I am here on behalf of Theron the Wanderer. He sends his regards and asked me to deliver something to you." Marcus blinked. "Theron? The old guy with the compass? Is he okay?" Serene smiled. "He is quite well. In fact, he is better than he has been in many years. Thanks to you. However, he has asked me to explain something that he did not tell you when you first met." She gestured, and one of her assistants brought forward a holographic projector. An image appeared in the air, showing a younger Theron in formal robes, standing with what looked like galactic leaders. "Theron the Wanderer is perhaps the most respected being in our region of space," Serene explained. "He mapped uncharted territories, made first contact with countless species, and helped establish the diplomatic frameworks that keep our systems at peace. When he retired 50 years ago, many thought he was gone forever." Marcus stared at the image, then thought about the old, humble alien who had shuffled into his shop. He didn't mention any of that. "He does not like to use his fame," Serene said. "He wanted to see how people would treat him when he was just an old traveler with a broken device. Many places, many beings failed that test. They were rude, dismissive, or tried to overcharge him for services they could not provide. But you," she continued, "treated him with respect and kindness. You worked through the night to solve a puzzle that Galaxy-class technicians could not figure out, and you asked for nothing except stories in return." Marcus felt uncomfortable with the praise. "I just did what anyone should do, help someone who needs it." "That is exactly why Theron wanted me to visit you," Serene said. "He believes the galaxy needs more beings like you. People who help simply because it is right, not because of what they might gain." A generous offer. The ambassador pulled out a datapad and handed it to Marcus. "Theron has arranged several things. First, Station 7 has been granted protected status. It will receive funding for upgrades and maintenance. This will ensure it remains a safe haven for travelers in the sector." Marcus looked at the datapad, scrolling through the official documents. That's incredible. Krill is going to be thrilled." "Second," Serene continued, "Theron has established a scholarship fund in your name. It will support young beings across the galaxy who want to study engineering, repair work, and technical skills. He believes practical knowledge is often undervalued, and he wants to change that. In my name?" Marcus felt overwhelmed. "But I'm just a repair guy." "You are someone who solved a problem that experts could not," Serene corrected gently. "Your combination of technical skill, creative thinking, and patient research is exactly what the galaxy needs more of." She paused and added, "And third, Theron would like to offer you a position. He is planning one final journey, mapping the last uncharted sectors before he retires for good. He wants you to come as his chief technician. The journey would take approximately 2 years, visiting places few beings have ever seen." Marcus stood there, trying to process everything. A galactic journey with a legendary explorer. It was the opportunity of a lifetime. The kind of adventure people dreamed about. But he looked around his cluttered workshop, at the familiar tools and half-finished projects, at the view of Station 7's corridor through his window, where he could see Krill argue with a cargo captain about docking fees. "Can I think about it?" Marcus asked. Serene smiled warmly. "Of course. Theron said you would need time. He also said to tell you that whatever you decide, you'll always have his friendship and gratitude. The offer remains open." A difficult choice. After the diplomatic party left, Marcus closed his shop early and went to the observation deck. It was a small area where station residents could watch ships come and go. He sat there for hours, thinking. The smart choice was obvious. Go with Theron, see the galaxy, have adventures that most people only read about. The scholarship fund would help others. Station 7 would be taken care of. There was no practical reason to stay. But Marcus had never been good at making the smart choice. He made the right choice, and those were not always the same thing. He thought about why he had come to Station 7 in the first place. He had been working for a big corporate repair chain on a core world. Good pay, steady work, lots of prestige. But every day was about quotas and efficiency ratings. Fix things fast, not well, charge maximum fees. Treat customers as revenue sources, not people. Marcus had quit after they had told him to replace a family's entire environmental system instead of fixing one small part. The family could not afford a replacement. The company did not care. Marcus had fixed it anyway, off the clock, and got fired for it. He had drifted for a while, taking jobs on different stations, until he found Station 7. It was quiet, forgotten, and perfect. Here, he could fix things properly. Take time with difficult problems. Help people who really needed it. Charge fair prices. Work at his own pace. An old friend found him on the observation deck. Sarah Chun, who ran the station's small medical clinic, sat down beside him. "Heard you got a fancy offer," she said. "Whole station's talking about it." "Word travels fast," Marcus said. "It's a small station." "So? Are you going?" Marcus watched the cargo ship undock, its engines glowing as it prepared to jump to faster-than-light speeds. "I don't know. It's an amazing opportunity. But," Sarah prompted, "but I like it here. I like helping the people on this station. I like taking my time with repairs. I like that a grumpy Thoraxian named Krill trusts me to fix his stuff even though I accidentally welded his favorite mug to his desk once." Sarah laughed. "He still complains about that mug. If I leave, someone else will take over the shop. Maybe they'll be better than me, more efficient, more technically skilled. But will they care as much? Will they work through the night for free because something matters to someone?" "Probably not," Sarah admitted. "You're kind of weird that way." Marcus smiled. "Thanks. So you're staying?" "I think so. The galaxy has plenty of great technicians. But Station 7 only has one repair shop. People here depend on it. Depend on me. I can't walk away from that just for an adventure." Sarah patted his shoulder. "Theron is going to understand, I read about him after the ambassador's visit. He spent his whole life helping people. He'll get it." The decision. Marcus sent his message the next day. He thanked Theron for the incredible offer and explained his decision. He tried to be honest about his reasons without sounding ungrateful. The response came faster than he expected. A personal video message from Theron himself. The old Valkyrian was sitting in what looked like a ship's cabin, his navigation compass visible on a table beside him. "Marcus Webb," Theron said, his amber eyes warm with emotion. "I am not disappointed. I am proud. You understand something that took me centuries to learn. The greatest adventures are not always about exploring distant stars. Sometimes they're about staying where you are needed and doing the work that matters." Theron picked up his compass, letting it glow in his hands. You restore this not just by fixing its mechanisms, but by understanding its purpose. It guides travelers home. You do the same thing. In your own way, you help lost beings find their way forward, one repair at a time. The old explorer smiled. "I made the offer because I wanted to honor your skills and your character. But I secretly hoped you would choose to stay on Station 7. The galaxy needs people like you in places like that. Quiet corners where kindness still matters more than profit. The scholarship fund is already established, Theron continued. The station upgrades are approved, and you will always have that communication code I sent you. Should you ever need help, should you ever want to take a journey, the offer remains open. You are my friend, Marcus Webb. That does not change. The message ended. Marcus saved it and went back to work, feeling at peace with his choice. Months later, life on Station 7 continued, but with noticeable improvements. The upgraded systems made everyone's life easier. Ships stopped more frequently now that the station had a reputation for good facilities and fair prices. Marcus's repair shop stayed busy. He fixed things, solved problems, and occasionally stayed up all night working on particularly challenging puzzles. He charged fair prices and sometimes worked for free when people really needed help. Word spread about the human repair technician who had helped Theron the Wanderer. Some travelers made detours just to meet him. Marcus found this embarrassing, but endured it with good humor. The scholarship fund began accepting applications. Marcus reviewed them personally, looking for young beings who showed not just technical skill, but genuine desire to help others. The first class of recipients came from 15 different species across 12 systems. One day, a young human woman arrived at the station. She was barely 20, fresh from technical school, carrying all her possessions in 2 bags. "Are you Marcus Webb?" she asked nervously. "That's me. What can I do for you?" She showed him a data pad with a scholarship certificate. "I received the Theron Webb Technical Scholarship. It's paying for my advanced training in zero-gravity systems repair. I wanted to meet you and say thank you." Marcus looked at the scholarship certificate, seeing his name listed as co-founder alongside Theron's. "I didn't actually do much for the scholarship fund." "You inspired it," the young woman said. "That's bigger than just funding it. You showed people that repair work matters, that taking care of things and helping people is important. That's why I applied." They talked for over an hour. Marcus shared advice about technical work, life on space stations, and the importance of staying curious. When she left to catch her connecting flight, Marcus felt something he rarely experienced: pride in what his simple actions had created. A final message. That evening, Marcus's comm device chimed with a text message from that mysterious frequency Theron had given him months ago. "Marcus, this is Theron. I am currently near the Veil Nebula, mapping some fascinating gravitational anomalies. The compass works perfectly, guiding me home whenever I need it. I think about our conversation often, and wanted you to know that I tell your story everywhere I go. Not to embarrass you, but because the galaxy needs to hear about people who choose kindness over profit, who value relationships over recognition. You have changed more than you know. Safe travels, friend, wherever your path leads. May you always find your way home." Marcus read the message twice, then saved it alongside the video Theron had sent. He looked around his workshop at the organized chaos of parts and projects, listened to the familiar hum of the station systems, and smiled. He had made the right choice. Sometimes the greatest adventure was not exploring the unknown, but rather taking care of the known, helping your neighbors, fixing what is broken, making your corner of the galaxy a little better, one repair at a time. Marcus picked up his coffee mug, a new one, since he had never found where he had welded Krill's original, and got back to work. There was a malfunctioning hydroponic system that needed his attention. Nothing glamorous, but important to the family who depended on it. And that was exactly where Marcus Webb wanted to be.